Local hospital officials say an uptick in COVID-19 cases is taking its toll on healthcare workers. Plus, a grand jury indicts 6 Southwest Missouri residents in connection with a kidnapping and death. And Miami, Oklahoma becomes a musical destination as national performing acts come to town for the Route 66 Heritage Festival.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin hospitals are seeing an increase in COVID-19 patients, and they say this time it's a much younger group testing positive for the virus. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with Mercy and Freeman officials for a look at what local health systems are facing.
I think we all were very, very hopeful that we'd gone around that curve and we weren't going to have this level of disease again. But unfortunately, it has returned with a vengeance.
Freeman Health System officials are warning the public of another COVID-19 case surge in the Joplin area. They say during the current surge of COVID-19, the population of those being hospitalized is much younger than what was seen during an uptick in cases last winter.
And the age of our population of COVID inpatient is going down. Now we're into the teens at times.
Over at Mercy Hospital in Joplin, they're seeing a similar pattern.
The winter wave, I guess, in November, we didn't have kids and didn't see that, but we are starting to see children test positive this time around.
Most new hospitalizations at Freeman are occurring in the unvaccinated.
Yeah, so currently inpatient, 57 active COVID patients are in the healthcare system right now being treated. 92% of them are unvaccinated completely.
Mercy is seeing the same, which is why they urge anyone still on the fence to get their shot.
The numbers are clear. 94% of the patients that we have in the hospital are unvaccinated. If people would step back and have a different motivation for vaccination than just that they don't like it. The numbers prove it here at this hospital. Vaccinations work.
Those in the hospital that are vaccinated have been able to leave much sooner.
Most of them are significantly less severe, don't require as long hospitalizations.
Which is why officials urge anyone unvaccinated to do so as soon as possible.
We have to get as many people vaccinated as possible. That's the only exit out of the pandemic. We have to get to herd immunity.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Joplin Hospital, Mercy Hospital, has a vaccine clinic open Wednesdays through Fridays from 8 to 4 on a walk-in basis. One of the largest retailers in the country is reinstating its mask mandate for employees. Bentonville, Arkansas-based Walmart announced today that the new policy goes into effect immediately for its stores in high transmission areas, and that includes our entire viewing area. Masks will still be optional for customers. Walmart ditched its mask mandate in May, but reevaluated the policy after the CDC updated its guidance this week because of surging COVID-19 cases. The CDC now recommends fully vaccinated people resume wearing masks indoors in areas with high transmission of COVID-19 and its Delta variant. This includes nearly 2/3 of all U.S. counties. In addition to Walmart, other large retailers like Target, Trader Joe's, Publix, and Costco are also reevaluating their mask policies. Florida's COVID-19 cases jumped 50% this week, with more than 110,000 new infections reported statewide. The summer surge across the U.S. comes amid new evidence vaccinated Americans also need to be wary of the highly contagious Delta variant. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
The CDC is now warning that vaccinated Americans can transmit the Delta variant as easily as those who are unvaccinated. That warning prompted by a cluster of COVID cases in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Of the 469 positive cases traced back to celebrations in early July, 74% were fully vaccinated. But the CDC also says overall, 97% of those hospitalized with COVID have not been vaccinated.
We're not in a good place because not enough people have decided up to now to be vaccinated.
In hard-hit Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards is calling the Delta variant an absolute game changer.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he hopes U.S. regulators grant full approval to COVID vaccines by next month, and that might convince some of those who are hesitant to get their shots.
What also will happen is that once you get full approval, local authorities will feel more comfortable in doing local mandates for vaccine.
As people lined up for testing in Palm Beach, Florida's daily new cases topped 17,000, levels last seen during the winter surge.
Should Americans expect more guidelines coming out, more restrictions because of COVID?
In all probability.
Walmart is joining the growing list of companies, big and small, requiring employees to show proof they're vaccinated. And in New York, the curtain is set to rise again on Broadway in September. Theatergoers will need a ticket, a mask, and proof of vaccination to get through the door. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Florida's governor says the state will not return to COVID restrictions. And the governor of Texas has signed an executive order prohibiting cities from requiring masks or vaccines. Nick Kelly, at least one more day of this intense heat.
And then we get the more promised relief from the heat and humidity whirling in here, Dow. At the very least, it looks nice at 10:06 on this Friday night, but the numbers tell yet another hot and humid day. After starting at 72, an easy jump back to 96 degrees this afternoon with heat indices back in the triple digits, no doubt. That said, I have been keeping an eye on thunderstorms to the north. A couple severe thunderstorm watches stretching from Nebraska to northern parts of Missouri. But all these storms, I don't expect any of them to make it in here. So we're going to keep things quiet for the overnight. But it's hinting at our next series of fronts on the way in before they can roll in and do the job. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings, they continue for one more day. And at least we get a little respite from the heat tonight. With most of us back in the upper 70s to lower 80s, still feels like the 90s in some spots. But a quick look at the day ahead. We'll have to start mild but dry with hot lows near 75. A quick jump to 96 with dew points back in the triple digits, the heat indices rather. Then Dow, the thunderstorms tomorrow night and Sunday, bringing in much needed relief. Forecast in a bit.
See you then. A federal grand jury indicts 6 Southwest Missouri residents accused in a kidnapping conspiracy that resulted in the death of the victim. The case is from July of last year. That's when authorities served a search warrant at a property on Cherry Road in Joplin. After a standoff, they found the body of 41-year-old Michael Hall, who had been reported missing from Carthage. At that time, they arrested Freddie Tilton in the home. Tilton had been wanted on domestic assault charges. Well, now Tilton and 5 others are charged in connection with Hall's kidnapping. In addition to Tilton, the suspects are Carla Ward of Joplin, Amy Thomas of Webb City, also James Gibson of Neosho, Lawrence Vaughn of Newton County, and Russell Hurt of Greenwood. The indictment alleges that after Hall was kidnapped, he was bound, beaten, stabbed, and then shot to death. You can find more details on this case on KOAMnewsnow.com. The Justice Department says the Treasury Department must give the House Ways and Means Committee former President Trump's tax returns, apparently ending a long legal showdown over the records. Now, during the Trump administration, then Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said he would not turn over the tax returns because he concluded they were being sought by Democrats for partisan reasons. The committee said it needed the former president's taxes for an investigation into whether he complied with tax law. Hundreds of Afghan evacuees arrived in Virginia to begin resettling in the U.S. As Christina Raffini reports, the flight brought interpreters and others who fear retaliation for working alongside American troops.
The highest-ranking U.S. diplomat in Afghanistan confirmed more than 200 evacuees were airlifted to a Virginia Army base to begin new lives in America.
This White House initiative aims to ensure the safe relocation of Afghans who have worked for the United States over the course of the past 2 decades.
The flight included interpreters, drivers, and other Afghans who worked alongside U.S. troops during the 20-year war, as well as their families. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine welcomed the evacuees, who all passed background checks and will stay at the base for up to a week.
Many of them need to have medical exams completed before they can be relocated with families and in communities around the United States.
The evacuation was part of the Special Immigrant Visa Program to protect Afghans from possible Taliban retaliation as the Biden administration withdraws troops from the region. Thousands more applications are in the pipeline.
Much work remains ahead to meet America's commitment to those who've been committed to us.
The operation has broad support from both parties, as well as veterans, including Marine Will Fisher, who said ending a war involves more than just withdrawing troops.
It's also about keeping our promises to our comrades in arms, to those Afghan interpreters who served right there alongside our U.S. military men and women, very often in harm's way.
President Biden called the first flight an important milestone, thanking the evacuees for their support with the message, "Welcome home." Christina Raffini, CBS News, Washington.
Yesterday, Congress overwhelmingly approved legislation that would allow an additional 8,000 visas and $500 million in funding for the Afghan visa program. About 70,000 Afghans have relocated to the U.S. since 2008. Still ahead, Miami, Oklahoma is the site of music, food, and fun as the downtown area plays host to the Route 66 Heritage Festival. And later, we're going to check in on Chiefs training camp as the team prepares for its first preseason matchup against the 49ers. The city of Miami is hosting the inaugural Route 66 Heritage Fest. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on what that festival is.
The Route 66 Heritage Festival in Miami is hosting a number of events, from live music to food trucks, a car and bike show, and so much more. For local band Until Now, it's the opportunity to play for their greatest fans.
To be honest with you, we're mind blown with it. We've been excited for it for about two months now. We've been getting ready. We're just super excited to play in a crowd this size and play on a stage like that, so we're super excited.
The concert series features 8 groups, 4 Friday evening and 4 more Saturday, as it pays tribute to the musical heritage of Oklahoma.
It's great. It's absolutely great. Couldn't ask for anything better than this, man. I mean, it's really great. Really excited for the car show, bike show, all that stuff. I mean, something like this hasn't happened in Miami for a long time, and it's really great to see the community coming together like this.
That musical heritage is what brought Oklahoma's Lieutenant Governor, Matt Pinnell, to the festival, so he could make an announcement about 2 of Miami's more famous musicians.
And Miami has a lot of great musicians that have come through the Miami, Oklahoma area, but the Gaines, part of Leonard Skinner, will be inaugurated tonight into our Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame.
Pinnell sees it as a great opportunity for the community as a whole.
For a town to be playing to their strengths, talking about how amazing Route 66 is, the American experience that you can get here, along with promoting the Oklahoma Music Trail and all the musical heritage. I think it's a winning combination and one that's going to pay dividends for this town and make small business owners here a whole lot of money.
In Miami, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The festival continues tomorrow with more live music beginning at 4 p.m. Today marked the beginning of the Park Days Freedom Festival in Joplin. It's an annual event which aims to provide fun and education on African American freedom and achievement. This year, vendors featured, included local vendors, gospel and R&B artists, and the award-winning Kansas City Marching Falcons. The Freedom Festival runs through Sunday at Ewart Park in Joplin. Later, highlights from the final day of pool play at the Kansas American Legion State Baseball Tournament in Pittsburgh.
But first, one more hot and humid day, then rain chances to cool us down. Plenty to get to, and we'll get to it next. Our main focus for the next 3 minutes will be another hot and humid afternoon to put up with, then the relief from the heat and humidity. So we're going to dive right in, starting with our time lapse, which has looked all too familiar over the past several days. Quiet skies from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, passing cloud cover sure, but didn't really result in any rain or thunderstorms around here. Kind of a notice though, thunderstorms really blossoming from Nebraska all the way into northwestern parts of Missouri. The thunderstorms riding along the boundary of Missouri is actually our first front that'll change things up for tomorrow, but you can see how all those thunderstorm chances stay north and east of us this evening. They're going to continue to stay north and east as we go through the overnight. So we're dry tonight. Got to put up with these excessive heat warnings and heat advisories until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Then we're going to get much needed relief from the heat and humidity. 10:19 on this Friday night. We're quiet at 7th and range line, but still warm in Joplin, sitting at 83 with the dew point at 72, making it feel like 88 degrees outside. Starting to see the numbers drop off a bit, but it's still kind of warm. 78 in Iola to about 84 in Fredonia, 85 down in Welch, Oklahoma. But the humidity is still kind of high too, so it still feels like the mid 80s in some spots. even some lower 90s trying to hold on. But we will drop back once again to the mid-70s tonight, while any big thunderstorms developing to our north tonight, they're going to mainly stay running along our warm front draped across the Missouri from northwest to southeast. But that's the first front that we'll work on through tomorrow. We've got our second front coming out of the northern plains, both of which will really help us out starting Saturday night and Sunday, not to mention the upper level setup. This upper level ridge is finally going to buckle, move back toward the west. All of that is going to lead to a much needed break from the heat and humidity, which we've been seeing for about a week now. Again, the big storms firing up tonight will stay north and east, so we stay quiet, maybe a little passing cloud cover at times, but we start warm in the mid-70s, and we're dry for much of the day with temperatures easily back into the mid-90s. So 75 in the morning, 92 by noon, highs near 96. Maybe a stray thunderstorm or two as early as 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but in terms of the afternoon weather headlines, it's all about the heat and the humidity that'll make it feel like 102 to about 109 for tomorrow afternoon. But look at what happens on Sunday. After the two fronts roll on through, look at how much lower the humidity is going to be. Before we see that nice drier air and relief from the heat roll on in, the first front will try to spark some scattered storms tomorrow evening through tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. And then the second front will work in overnight. That'll cause a little more scattered showers and thunderstorms. I don't think any of these will be severe, but we can't rule out some of these being strong with potentially some minor wind gusts, some small hail, and maybe some heavy rainfall. But once everything clears out Sunday morning, we're looking a lot better for Sunday afternoon. A quick note about the rainfall, though. While most of the area could average out between a tenth to half an inch, any heavier pockets of rain could push rain amounts over an inch. So we need to keep an eye on that, because while we do need some rain, we don't need too much of it that wants to cause any minor flooding issues. But these are numbers that we have been begging for now, and they are still on the way. We'll go from 96 tomorrow to 86 Sunday, lower 80s Monday through Tuesday with lows in the lower 60s. We got to turn warmer by the end of next week, but it is nice to see these numbers back on the board.
Nothing like an intense heat wave to make you appreciate those cooler temperatures.
Ain't that the truth?
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, the Pittsburgh American Legion baseball team wraps up pool play in the state tournament. Plus, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense puts the defense to the test at training camp. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Tonight is the final night of pool play at the Kansas American Legion State Baseball Tournament in Pittsburgh. Now, the tournament host Post 64 squad has already punched their ticket to the Final Four on Saturday. Tonight, though, they wrap up pool play, aiming to hand the Kansas Senators their first loss of the tournament. The Senators up 1-0 in the first. Justin Wheel, shallow hit to left, brings in the run to double the lead. Then, Kyle Bonenkemper with the grounder. Pittsburgh finds its second out, but Tate Schaffelman scores. Senators make it 4-0 before finally here Brett Sutterby strikes out the batter for the third out. Patriots out of the inning. Now, they went down big early, but Pittsburgh has come back to lead at 8-7 in the bottom of the fifth. In the major leagues, the Kansas City Royals begin a 3-game series on the road tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays. Kansas City's still hot right now, winning 8 of their last 9 games. Toronto, meanwhile, has lost 6 of 9 coming into this one. The Jays would strike first. Teoscar Hernandez up and out for the solo homer, his 16th. Toronto up 1. Later on, same inning, George Springer this time getting extra bases. Randall Grichuk scores. Royals now in a 2-run hole. Salvador Perez got a solo homer in the 6th for Kansas City, but they could not get back in front. Royals fall to the Jays tonight 6-4. The St. Louis Cardinals also in action tonight, beginning a 3-game interleague series with the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Cards are an even 500, 51-51 coming into the night. Tonight's game is over. St. Louis wins at 5-1. Tommy Edman goes 1 for 2 this evening with a 3-run double. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the middle of their first week of training camp in St. Joe, Missouri. Kansas City is 2 weeks away from their first preseason game, which will be against the 49ers on August 14th. Everybody wants some Patrick Mahomes video, right? Well, there you go. Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, the only offense in the NFL last season to average more than 400 yards per game. They have all their big weapons back and a rebuilt offensive line, so they're primed for another big year. And training camp, though, going against that offense is good work for the Chiefs' defense.
It's really great for our defense to be able to go up against Patrick and the offense and Coach Reed and their scheme and the amount of pass plays and the schemes that they draw up. It really challenges us, and which is great because we can tighten up, we can adjust, we can focus, because we know going into the regular season we might not face such a pass-heavy, proficient throwing offenses. So if we can get all that work in and that training in now, it'll be really good for us during the season.
Finally, the U.S. women's soccer team is headed to the Olympic semifinals. The U.S. defeated the Netherlands today in penalty kicks 4-2 after overtime ended in a 2-2 tie. Megan Rapinoe converted the deciding penalty goal in that shootout. Now the United States moves on to face Canada in the semifinals on Monday. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after the break.
Take time now to honor local veteran specialist 4th class Sammy Prowser. The Baxter Springs, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army. And we are proud to salute Specialist 4th class Sammy Prowser. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Hang in there. Be careful if you must be out tomorrow. We've got to get through one more day of this intense heat.
And that's why the alert day is out for tomorrow. Just due to the heat and humidity. Highs near 96. It'll feel like the triple digits again. We'll watch the storm chances with our 2 fronts Saturday evening into Sunday morning. I don't think they'll be severe, but behind it, the 80s for highs. They finally return.
Yeah, and chances of rain makes it doubly nice. Final sports note.
Pittsburgh American Legion baseball plays in the state semifinals tomorrow morning. If they win that, they'll play in the championship game at 3:30 at JC Ballpark.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's make it a great weekend.